moving from Zimbabwe to South Africa. And then the next part of the journey was now moving from the master's to also doing the PhD. So doing the PhD was only going to be possible if I completed my MSc study, my MSc program. It's important to have focus when you're doing your MSc program. If you have many distractions, it means you can do your MSc program longer than necessary. And it's also good to have friends and those vertical relationships that I mentioned before. I had people who were older than me in terms of experience in the field, and these were instrumental in teaching me some of the hard concepts. When I moved to the bioinformatics program, it was very difficult because I was coming from a biotechnology program, a non-coding background, and we had to learn how to code, we had to learn how to work in Unix environment. I had to learn a lot of things, and then I managed to learn those things, completed my studies. And when you're also doing your MSc, it's also important to maintain visa status. Because if you don't maintain a visa status, like if you don't check the date when your visa is expiring, and then it expires before you apply for a new one, it means you have to go back to Zimbabwe and apply for a new visa. So about maybe 50 days or before the visa expires, you have to start putting together all your papers and then renew your visa. You can do that in South Africa. When I was nearing completion for my PhD, for my master's program, I then started applying for PhD programs. I applied to the University of Oxford. I didn't get the place that I applied for. And then there's a site called Indeed. I saw an advertisement about some positions at the NICT, which is called the National Institute for Communicable Diseases. So I applied for a place there, and then I got an interview. After getting an interview, they asked me all sort of questions, and then I did also my research about the laboratory. It was a very good laboratory, very good supervisors. So after I was accepted, I went to South Africa for the postgraduate study. So I can post there and answer if there are any questions.
Okay, so I'll start with a question. You mentioned that you managed to go and present your internship work and got a prize. I wonder if you could just share a little bit about what that internship work involved. Was it a little project that you had to do? Or?
Okay, so the internship position, I went into a lab that was called the Enzymes Technologies Group. At that time, it was called the Enzymes Technologies Group. But it then changed the name to Proteins Technologies Group. So they had funding from the Department of Science and Technology and from an organization called the Technology Innovation Agency. They had applied for a big grant to produce biofuels from agricultural waste. So part of the project was our group was involved in how do we degrade the waste from the agricultural production sector, like the agricultural foliage, like when you grow the maize or you grow the sugarcane. Those are the waste that you have. How can we ferment it? So they thought to use some bacteria that is found in termites. We used what is called the metagenomic approach to just identify all the genes or the species that are within the termite hindgut. So I learned the bioinformatics methods on how to identify coding gene areas, and also learned the metagenomic approaches and how to produce the enzymes from the genes that we identified maybe to be involved in producing certain enzymes to degrade agricultural foliage. So that was the research project. So for the presentation at the University of Oxford, this conference was different. It wasn't a scientific conference per se. It was a policy. It was a policy conference. I wrote something that was different about the projects that I was doing. I was explaining now the socio-economic impact of such a project. Like how does biofuel production using waste affect maybe the lives of people, how it affects the economy and all the benefits, and looking at the cost-benefit analysis. They're called second-generation biofuels compared to first-generation biofuels that use maybe food that is meant for human consumption to produce the biofuel. So that was the argument that I went there and presented to the University of Oxford. Yeah, and I won a prize. By winning the prize, it was there was a professor who had so many presentations, right? And she's the person who actually won the innovation award. Her name was Professor Jennifer Widner. But that professor now, she came to my stand and then she saw the presentation that I had. And she said, "You're only in undergraduate and you already have a poster and presenting all this kind of work. I'm very impressed." And she had about 5 posters and I only had about 1, and she was doing really amazing work. So after she was announced that she's the winner, and then she said, "No, I want to thank you for selecting me as a winner, but I think this young man should take the prize." And then that's how I got the prize.
Wonderful. I also would like you to share a little bit about selection of research areas. So when a person is thinking to do postgraduate research, what are some of the factors that contribute to selection of a research area or even a place to study?
Okay.
How do you go about that?
So for me, I selected the research areas based on what maybe the supervisors have funding for. I had like the areas that I wanted to go into. Like when I started doing bioinformatics, I knew that I want to take my bioinformatics work into public health. So even though I started doing bioinformatics work in plant viruses, because the supervisor that I had was working on plant viruses. He was looking at the viral molecular epidemiology in plants. So I went and did that anyway because the concepts are just the same. You are just dealing with plants and looking at how viruses are moving among within plants in different countries. So I started there, and then I gained the skills. And then for a PhD, I got a position now that allowed me to use the skills that I have, but working on HIV. So again, it was in a lab that already had funding for work on HIV. So I had to like choose a research area or research interest that are within the funding limits of the supervisor. And if you go outside their funding limits, that means they won't be able to fund the project. So it's for someone who wants to apply for postgrad, it's good to see and to check supervisors who potentially have funding for projects. Look at their publication list, look at their what is called NRF rating or rating. It can show you how good that supervisor, or how well recognized that supervisor is. And yeah, it helps.
You do show on this last slide a little bit about putting ourselves out there for maybe people to reach out to us or for us to link up. How important is networking and profiling online for a researcher, a young researcher?
So yeah, this last slide is just some tips to make the journey enjoyable. So the first thing that I mentioned is understanding yourself. You have to understand yourself, like what is it that you really like. I think when you're doing your undergraduate study, you realize if you really like the research, like the academic or the non-academic. And this is important, in this tree I draw a dendrogram, that you can choose to say, okay, I think I'm going to choose a master's or a PhD program that is going to prepare me to do maybe non-academic work, maybe working in an industry. So these MSc programs, they can be taught, or you'll be doing some specific courses to gain more insights into a particular area compared to academic. Uh, this will be based on thesis research. You're just doing research. So if you don't like research, there are programs that are designed for you that gives you the right kind of skills that you're looking for. And then character, I think we have to build good character, learn to be responsible. When you apply for a position and then you go there, if you don't have a good character, if you don't interact well with others, you will lose opportunities. You will lose many opportunities even to grow. You can go there and then they won't help you maybe to move higher up. But if you have a good character, they can recommend you for more opportunities. Time and money. You have to use time and money wisely. Like when I was doing my applications, I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of time. I realized that, okay, I have to utilize the time that I have very wisely, because it takes more time to do the applications and all. So you have to use that time very wisely. Every time that you have, and every bit of money that you have to save up. Some things require a lot of money. I wrote some points on how to understand yourself better, like what you really like or what you don't like. What I did when I was doing before I even chose my undergraduate degree, I visited a couple of places where I shortlisted, okay, I want to do this program, and this program. So I went to those organizations that deal with those particular, who have those work environments. And I spent maybe some time asking people who work in those fields, like how it feels. And I realized that I wanted to go into some fields, but I really didn't want to go into these fields that I listed. And I also volunteered. I volunteered to work at the University of Zimbabwe. There's a biochemistry lab there. So I would volunteer in some of my lecturers from the University of Technology, who were also working at UZ, to come during vacation and just work in the laboratory, and to see if I really like to work in the laboratory. So it also helped me like to get some more work experience. And also make notes about the things you enjoy, like listing down your options. I listed, okay, I wanted to go into industry and these particular programs, but when it didn't work out, I had the second option, like, okay, I'm going to take this thing. So you have to list down what you want, and the last point, make a plan on how to achieve all those things. So you can make a list of the options that you have, and then when you start making the plan on how to achieve it, then you realize, I think this is not maybe very feasible. But what you can do is you can do all of those at once, and then when you get the results at the end, you can help decide with everything that comes out. Number two, I mentioned about if a good online profile. People will Google you, especially if you're applying for positions outside the country. If you post anything like on Facebook, like on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and if you just post anything that you wish onto the internet doesn't forget. So when they Google you, what they find about you, like the pictures that they will see about you, is how they will see you. and they can use that information to select you or not to select you. So if you are posting things that may give a negative impression about your character, I suggest that you remove those things from the internet. But also this also talks about character. So when you concentrate on building more about your character, it will help you make certain decisions about what to post or certain things to do. So people will Google you. You might say, okay, I'm young now, but even if you are young, just make responsible decisions that won't maybe miss future opportunities that you want. And also network, make good friends. There are people that I networked with. There are people that I made good friends with, and they really helped finding more opportunities for my programs. I listed some couple of areas where you can network. I mentioned Facebook. I networked on Facebook, and I got my master's position through a Facebook post. There is LinkedIn, there is Twitter. You can connect to people who are in similar circles, or maybe in the same research areas, or maybe academic areas or professional areas, similar to those that you want, and you can interact with those people. But again, when those people, before they start communicating with you, they will start checking you, like, what is this person like? And if they Google you and then they don't like what they see when they Google you, they might not interact further with you. So these are some of the tips that I thought might be useful in making your journey enjoyable.
This was powerful. I think we might have to invite you again. I don't know what we'll ask you to talk about, but I'm sure we might have to come back to you, not maybe on this kind of platform. As a network of people, we might have to think of a day that we meet and have an online interaction for our young people, for us to link up, like you have encouraged us to think vertical and think horizontal. I think that presentation for me has been power-packed and full of knowledge and tidbits, and I still want to hear more. But unfortunately, time does not permit us. I think you are getting ready to go to work.
Yeah.
We are getting ready to go from lunch back to our various stations. Thank you very much, Dr. Mabvakure. I'll come back to you with more questions that may come up from our participants, or those who may DM me. If they have some other pressing questions I cannot answer, I'll come to you for the answers and advice. Just to say that Dr. Mabvakure was a student when I left Chinoy University, but I'm not ashamed to ask him for advice. That is something that I think as Africans we should just be responsible to understand somebody who knows a little bit more about you, about a different area than you. Ask. I think you've said that a number of times, that you went to people and asked. Asking is something we should encourage, I think. I really would like to thank you very much. We'll be Googling you too.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for teaching us and mentoring us at University of Technology.
I did a little bit. I was also learning at that time. I did a little bit, but I can't take credit for most of what you have said here. But yeah, I did contribute. Like you said, parents do have a bit of a say in how we take out. So I think I was a parent of some sort at that time. So I'm very proud of you. Thank you. Enjoy your day.
Same to you.
Okay. We'll talk again soon.
Okay.
Bye.